Okay, we're back with Tortured Poets Department. Nobody requested this because I'm filming it the next day and I have not posted the video, but I just really want to continue. I had so much. Do I always have a random accent mid-sentence? It's like, we're bored. We're bored of your accent. Change it up. I had so much fun last time, so let's just keep going. And let's make this a series. Request it again. Not again, request it. So let's go. So the first we did in the first video, so if you have not watched it, I did Fortnite, the Tortured Poets Department, which dragged me. I was so offended. My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, Down Bad, and So Long London. We did that in the first one. So let's go. Let's keep going. But Daddy, I Love Him is the next one. I forgot how the West has won. I forgot if this was ever fun. I love that sentence. I love the concept of I forgot if this was ever fun. Because there's such a warped idea of memory and nostalgia around memories. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look back at the exact same situation 3 times in 3 different months, you remember it different. Not just the facts of it, the feelings of it. You remember things differently. You highlight the good, you underplay the bad, or you highlight the bad, you underplay the good, or you just miss it more, or you miss it less. There's something so weird about this exact same moment being painted different in your mind and your memory kind of playing tricks on you. And that's why poetry is quite interesting to read back, like my own poetry. Because sometimes I'll be so confused. I'm like, I guess this is true. I guess I must have been in this amount of pain. I don't remember it though. Which is, on one hand, so sad in its weird warped idea of like, it meant so much yet I don't remember it. But in the other sense, it means whatever pain you feel, you will never forget. You'll forget. So feel it. Or don't, but it will all kind of just fade into the background. It's interesting. I love this sentence. I just learned these people only raised you to cage you. Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best. She's naming a lot of names. I know she did that, I think, with Dear John or something ages ago. But she had a really long time where there was minimal names, where there were, less names than in these albums. In like this album specifically. Let's see if we'll do the next one, maybe in that one as well. Clutching their pearls, sighing, what a mess. I also think names in poetry or albums are important if you talk about more than one person. And maybe that's why she's starting to put names to it, because you, as this kind of all-encompassing you person that is anyone who's ever broken your heart in poetry ends up just being you, which the word you ends up being this huge word, which is ridiculous because it's not a huge word, but it does end up being it. It's interesting, but that was not the point. And if you have more than one you have to add names, so maybe that's why. I just learned these people try and save you because they hate you. Too high a horse for a simple goal to rise above it. What does high horse mean? I actually don't know. I've heard it before, but what does high horse mean? To act arrogant. Too arrogant to raise to your standards. Interesting. They slammed the door on my whole world. The one thing I wanted. Now I'm running with my dress unbuttoned screaming. But Daddy, I love him. I'm having his baby. No, I'm not. But you should see your faces. That is funny. Taylor Swift is funny. Like, you'll watch interviews, and I think really good writers, which I consider her a writer and a poet. Maybe I should make a video about the whole, like, is she an English teacher drama? Maybe I will. Whatever. Not whatever, but I can't go on too many side tangents. But I think really good writers tend to have a sense of humor, especially really sad people. Like, most comedians are not happy people for the most part, or they're not clownish people. Like, there's a reason they didn't select being a clown, like they selected being a comedian, and they're also really intelligent. This is also such a side tangent, but I'm always so surprised at how intelligent comedians are. Anyways, that's not here nor there, but I do think intelligence and humor overlaps the most out of any traits. Kindness, no. You'll see smart, funny people who are not kind, but you'll rarely see someone who's insanely intelligent and has zero sense of humor, or who's insanely funny and has zero intelligence. You will, but I think that's more of an outlier. I'm telling him to floor it through the fence. No, I'm not coming to my senses. I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want. Dutiful daughter, all my plans were laid. Tendril tucked into a woven braid. Okay, I'm assuming that's okay. Growing up precautious sometimes means not growing up at all. That I think is true. I actually have a poem, not about not growing up, but the concept of learning all your lessons through words, and that they almost don't feel earned because you didn't learn them the hard way, which is a weird concept, but yeah. Go check out my poetry book and my fiction book and my other poetry book, all linked in the description. Anyways, let's keep going. And my TikTok and my Spotify. I wish I had like a thing that would just show up. The second I get an editor, it's over. It's over. Okay, whatever. Growing up. All right, we had it. He was cautious. He was chaos. He was revelry. What is revelry? Revelry. I couldn't even pronounce it, that's why. Lively and noisy festives. Okay. Bedroom eyes like a remedy. Soon enough, the elders had convened down at the city hall. Stay away from her. The saboteurs protested too much. Lord knows, the words we never heard. Just screeching tires and true love. And now I'm running with my dress unbuttoned, screaming, Daddy, I love him. The words we never heard is a concept as old as time. The words we never heard. Silences. I think I have, a poem called Misunderstood Silences or something. Go check it out. But there's something so weird about the importance of nothing and silences in life. And even in music, and just in general with life, silences are almost the most important. Almost the most important to life. Because they're the only ones that leave room for interpretation, for movement, for facial expressions, for emotions. If there's something interesting about emotions, that is why a writer can keep writing their whole life, is you're kind of chasing this thing that you're never really catching, but you're getting closer and you're getting a different angle and you're almost taking pictures of this thing that is emotions again and again and again and again, but you're never really getting it. But you're getting closer, you think, but it's not really it, because the real thing of emotions is just there, in the moment. And poetry is essentially the emotional picture taking of love. And that's why you could do it forever, because you never get the perfect picture. Anyways, I'm having this baby. Okay. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. I'm telling him to the floor, it through the fences. No, I'm not, coming to my senses. I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want. I'd tell you something right now. I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this bitching and moaning. I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace. I love this. It's mine alone to disgrace. And I think it's so true that there's almost a pressure with a good name and a good reputation. Oh, I would love to do that album too. Please, someone request this so we can keep doing this. Which is caging. It's like there's something about no expectations that feels freer. I actually have a poem about this too, which is the concept of, I think one of the lines I said was something along the lines of, lucky are the ones who are not important enough to be in pain for somebody else, or something like that. And that's so true. There's something so freeing about not having a reputation or not having a good reputation. Margot Robbie talked about that, interestingly enough, with The Wolf of Wall Street, where she was auditioning or something, and she's like, you're just gonna think I'm like a silly little blonde or whatever. And she auditioned whatever and got the part. And then for the next movie she was auditioning, she's like, no, wait, go back to thinking I'm a silly blonde, because now I've been in like a Scorsese film and there's pressure on it, and you're trying to, this is what I'm adding to it, you're trying to hit the pressure rather than get a wow, you get a thank God, or you get a oh okay. Like it's almost, you have to keep raising your own standards, where if nobody knows, there still gets to be a wow effect to the talent, to the thing, to the character, to the life, that at some point you end up living in your own shadow, or you have the pressure not to live in your own shadow. Does that make sense? And I found it really interesting, because at the beginning you think, I'm going to prove myself, and you're like, this is the hard part, but then you're like, but maybe I enjoyed that more, because there was this confidence I had to bring, whereas now they're so confident I can't be. Like, I think there's a imaginary line of sanity and when you argue with someone, or when you talk with someone, or when there's a situation, this is like the line, let's say it's the middle of my nose or whatever, and it's here, whoever is pushing here, the other person is pushing there. So, but if you push here, the other person goes there. Like, it's almost, you know what I mean? And you'll see this that sometimes you'll argue with somebody, or sometimes you'll have a discussion with somebody, and the second you agree, you're like, yes, I agree. They're like, what? Like, they're so on defense that when you stop being on offense, they stop being on defense. They just see the point. Does that make sense? Anyways, getting back. That's just my theory. I don't cater to all these Viper dressing and empath clothes. God save the most judgmental creeps. Judgmental creeps is a good way to put that. Who say they want what's best for me. Sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see. Thinking it can change the beat. I really want to know if she like read a dictionary or what she's done, because every time I see a new word, I'm like, what? I'm gonna Google this. Wait, can we Google this now? Let's do this together. Did Taylor Swift ever read a dictionary? That sounds like it's an insult, but I mean like front to back, not like did she open up a dictionary before. There's no specific public record or statement confirming that Taylor Swift has ever read an entire dictionary, though it is a very difficult and time-consuming task. Okay, but she did do good in high school, which is obviously not the same thing, but okay. Of my heart when he touches me and counteracts the chemistry, and undo the destiny, you ain't gotta pray for me and my wild boy, and all this wild joy. It's okay. I like the first two lines with the destiny and chemistry, but the other ones I'm like, oh yeah. It's not my favorite. If all you want is gray for me, then it's just white noise. Oh, gray. I wonder if gray is a metaphor for not good but not bad. Like palatable. There's a sense of sometimes an extreme can be good, and gray is the metaphor for kind of nothing. And it's like super neutrality. I'm gonna reference something you're not gonna expect, which is Vanderpump Rules. And what's his name? Tom Schwartz. It's always kind of sort of neutral, and is kind of never defending Katie. And his neutrality is kind of bad. Like, he should not be this neutral. Like, his gray zone is actually him just like agreeing with everybody, but nobody, standing for nothing and everything at the same time. And usually gray and the middle path or whatever is painted as something good, but in certain instances like those where you can't defend anybody because you want to understand every side, and you're kind of everywhere and nowhere. It's just my choice. There's a lot of people in that town bestowed upon my fakest smiles. Scandal does funny things to pride, but brings lovers closer. That's true. That's true. There's a lot of things that are not good for society and not even particularly good for the concept of love itself, but brings people closer. We came back when the heat died down, went to my parents and they came around. All the wine moms are still holding out, but fuck 'em, it's over. Now I'm dancing in my sundress and even my daddy just loves him. I'm his lady, oh my god. You should see your face. Time. Doesn't it give some perspective? No, you can't come to the wedding. I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want. I tell you something right now. You ain't gotta pray for me. Me and my wild boy and all of this wild joy. He was chaos. He was revelry. I wonder when people use boy instead of man and they're adults, if boy is like a half metaphor for the youth that someone makes you feel. Like you feel like she has a song High School, which is obviously not about the same person, I'm assuming. But this like youth of he makes me feel young as a 22-year-old. I'm like, please don't make me feel any younger than I am. I already still feel very ridiculously young. But I wonder if that's why people say it. Or if you just don't get out of saying boy, because when you start liking people, you're still quite young. It's interesting. I also think it's maybe, it's interesting. All right. If all you want is gray for me, then it's white noise and it's my choice. Screaming. But daddy, I love him. I'm having his kid. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. Oh my god, you should see your faces. There's an interestingness to her repeating how many, obviously it's also the chorus, but her repeating so many times of but daddy, I love him and you should see your faces, because there's almost this performance element to this relationship, and there's an imagined audience. And you're like, oh, isn't that with all her songs? No. Her other songs very much seem like she had this experience and now she's retelling it. Whereas this almost feels like she's having the experience while picturing the audience. Does that make sense? Fresh out the slammer. Now, pretty baby, I'm running back home to you. Fresh out the slammer, I know who my first call will be to. Fresh out the slammer, another summer taking cover, rolling thunder. He don't understand me. Splintered back in winter, silent dinners, bitter. He was with her in dreams. Gray and blue and fights and tunnels, handcuffed to the spell I was under. For 1 hour of sunshine. Years of labor, locks and ceilings in the shade of how he was feeling. But it's gonna be alright. I did my time. Now. Pretty baby, I'm running back home to you. Fresh out the slammer, I know who my first call would be. Fresh out the slammer, camera flashes, welcome bashes. I wonder what the slammer is a metaphor for. Get the matches, toss the ashes off the edge. As I said in my letters, now I know better. I will never lose my baby again. My friends tried, but I wouldn't hear it. Watched me daily disappearing for just one glimpse of his smile. All those nights you kept me going, swirled you into all of my poems. That's cute. There's also an Olivia Rodrigo line that's like, you're like a poem I wish I wrote. Oh, we can also do Olivia Rodrigo. Let me know if you want that. But that was one of the lines where I was like, oh, I wish I wrote that. You're like a poem I wish I wrote is one of my favorite lines ever. I listen to much more music than I do poetry. I don't really read it. I don't know why. I read some quotes, and I've read a poetry book or two. I don't know. And I'm also not against it. Like, if in 10 years, like, I've read all the poetry, I would be up for it. It just didn't appear. I don't know. No. Now we're at the starting line. I did my time. Now, pretty baby, I'm running to the house where you still wait up, and the porch light gleams. To the one who says I'm the girl of his American dreams. Oh, that's cool. American dreams. She's American dreams. Wildest dreams. And no matter what I've done, it wouldn't matter anyways. Ain't no way I'm gonna screw up. Now I know what's at stake. Here at the park where we used to sit on children's swings wearing imaginary rings. But it's gonna be alright. I did my time. Maybe the slammer is being single. Or the doing her time as being single. But that, I don't know if she would view it that way. Or if she... I wonder... Also, I don't know if she's ever been single for a prolonged period of time. I don't think so. But I wonder if that's her definition of it. Has she ever had a song about being single? I feel like that'd be a very sad, short song. Like, get me out of here, please. But, because she doesn't seem to like being... I don't know, leave it in the comments if you know one. Florida. Okay, let's do Florida and Guilty as Sin. And then we'll do the next ones and the next one. Because I also have to go eat lunch. Okay, Florida. You can beat the heat if you beat the charges too. They said I was a cheat. I guess it must be true. This is the thing. She explores not the concept of cheating, but she explores the concept of interest a couple times. Like Guilty as Sin, we'll get into it, and Gorgeous, we'll get into it, and you never know because she doesn't really tell you if she's done anything. Well, Guilty as Sin, she tells you she hasn't, but it's been thought. And then I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't think she. I think if you write this much about your feelings, you just be more in touch with your intentions of what you do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And my friends all smell like weed or little babies. And this city reeks of driving me crazy. Little did you know, your home is really only a town you're just a guest in. That's interesting. This idea of feeling close to something that's not close to you. And you see that often sometimes with people, like one person's opening up a lot and someone else is not. And not because they don't want to, but because there is this discrepancy of closeness. And that you can also have that with a town or a city or a home. So you work your life away just to pay for a timeshare down in Destin, Florida. It's one hell of a drug, Florida. Can I use you up? I wonder if Florida is a metaphor for retirement. Yeah, Florida is probably a metaphor for retirement. Because doesn't everyone go to Florida to retire? Is that not a thing? If it's not a thing, let me know in the comments. But gently, I'm a poet. I did not grow up in the US. Very obviously. Or not obviously. I don't know. Can you guess the accent? Try. But is that not the place where everyone goes to retire, right? So maybe that's... Florida's an accumulation of the rest and retirement. I don't know. The hurricane with my name when it came. I got drunk and I dared it to wash me away. Barricade in the bathroom with a bottle of wine. Well, me and my ghosts. We had a hell of a time. I wonder if ghosts is a metaphor for exes. Yes, I'm haunted, but I'm feeling just fine. All my girls got their lace and their crimes. And your cheating husband disappeared. Well, no one asks any questions here. So I did my best to lay to rest all of the bodies that have ever been on my body. Okay. Death is such a huge thing in this album. And in my mind, they sink into the swamp. Is that a bad thing to say in a song? Little did you know, Wait. Did I miss something? And in my mind, they sink into the swamp. Swamp is like water, right? And is that they sink into the tears that she's shed and that are in the past? Little did you know, your home's really only the town you get arrested. So you pack your life away, just wait out the shitstorm back in Texas, Florida. Is one hell of a dog. Florida, can I use you up? I need to forget, so take me to Florida. I think it really is retirement and rest and the idea that you postpone sanity until you're done retiring, or you postpone happiness, or like there's a postponing of life until retirement for quite a bit of people, for almost everyone to a certain degree. And there's this encapsulation of I will move there, I will do this. And she's like, take me there now. I think that's what I got from the metaphor of Florida. Maybe I'm wrong. I tend not to be, though. I got some regrets. I'll bury them in Florida. Okay, tell me I'm despicable. Say it's forever. Or maybe she means Florida as an age, like retirement age. Like, take me to the wisdom that I'm learning now. Can't I just have it now? That would be interesting. At least the dolls are beautiful. Fuck me up, Florida. I need to forget, so take me to Florida. I got some regrets. I'll bury them in Florida. Tell me I'm despicable. Say it's unforgivable. What a crash. What a rush. Fuck me up, Florida. It's one hell of a drug. It's one hell of a drug. Who left me like this? And I don't want to exist. So take me to Florida. Little did you know your home's really just a town you're a guest in. So you worked your life away just to pay for a timeshare down in Destin. Little did you know your home's really only the town you'll get arrested. So you pack your life away just to wait out in the shitstorm back in Texas. Florida, one hell of a drug. Go on, fuck me up. I wonder if that's her way of saying maybe the way I'm picturing retirement is not going to be the way retirement is going to be. And it's kind of like, who cares? Like, it will fuck me up in a different way than working will. But let's just try it out. Kind of vibe. Okay. Drowning in the blue Nile, he set me downtown lights. I hadn't heard it in a while, my boredom's bone deep. Ah, I love that. I've used aggressively bored a lot because there's something about boredom that sounds like chill. Boredom is not chill. Like sometimes you're like aggressively bored and you're like, I just want to like yawn across the building. This cage was once fine. I have no words. Am I allowed to cry? I think this is an interesting idea of if you're the one that messes something up, if it's your fault, are you allowed to cry? I mean, of course you are. Nobody's like, hands up or she'll shoot if you cry, but there's something about it not being okay. I don't know. There's something invalid about tears shedding by your own actions. It's odd. I dream of cracking locks, throwing my life to the wolves, or the ocean rocks, crashing into him tonight. He's a paradox. Interesting. I wonder in what way. I'm seeing visions. Am I bad or mad or wise? Like wise, looking into the future. What if he's written mine on my upper thigh, only in my mind? One slip and falling back into the hedge maze. Oh, what a way to die. What is a hedge maze? Hedge maze. Let's see. Oh, that's a good metaphor for emotions. That's a good metaphor for emotions, if it is that. This is a head maze, do you see? That would be a fantastic metaphor. Okay, one slip and falling back into the hedge maze. Oh, what a way to die. I keep recalling things we never did. Messy top lip kiss. How I long for our trysts. What's a tryst? Let's look it up. Trysts. Definition. A private romantic rendezvous between lovers. Without ever touching his skin, how can I be guilty of sin? I think this is an interesting idea. And she goes into this more, which is the concept of how much do your thoughts matter in life? Yes, in this relationship, obviously, that she's discussing, but in life. How much do intentions matter? How much does your thoughts matter? Because saying not at all, zero, doesn't feel like the answer, but saying yes, absolutely, everything, all important, whatever you think should be written down and put in a lawsuit also doesn't make sense. I keep these longings locked in a lowercase inside a vault. I wonder why lowercase. What is lowercase? Like it's not screaming at her, it's whispering at her. But repeatedly. Like, really random fact. There's a torture method. Did you think that would go there? No. Where they don't do this anymore. We had history class once and that was part of the class. And don't just randomly look up torture methods from past centuries. But I'm so glad I clarified that. But there's a drop of water and it's like repeatedly, and that drives people absolutely bonkers. Not because it's like painful, but because it psychologically ruins you, this like drop. And I think that's the equivalent of a constant whisper. It's much worse than a scream. Because a scream warrants a scream. A extreme warrants an extreme. But a constant small thing, it's like the bees or bugs or something like small but constant. It kills you. Not that, but the torture method. Aren't you glad you know about this now? Someone told me there's no such thing as bad thoughts. Only your actions talk. These fatal fantasies giving way to labored breath, taking all of me. We've already done it in my head. It's making me believe, why does it feel like a vow we'll both uphold somehow? That's interesting. And I don't know if in this situation specifically, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but you'll have conversations with people in your head, and then you think you've had the conversation. This sounds like Crazy People Anonymous, no. But and you'll feel like they also had the conversation with themselves in their head about you. Is that weird? Probably. You're like, yes, this is why writers need paper and not friends. That's the point. What is written mine on my upper thigh, only in my mind. One slip falling into the hedge maze, oh what a way to die. My bed sheets are ablaze, I've screamed his name building up like waves crashing over my grave. Oh, crashing over my grave sounds a little bit like she's neglected herself. Without touching his skin, how can I be guilty as sin? What if I rolled the stone away? They're gonna crucify me anyway. I wonder if grave and rolling the stone away is like the metaphor of the relationship she's in being dead, and if she breaks up and then starts something with someone else, is it just as bad? That would be what I'm guessing she's saying. What if the way you hold me is actually what's holy? If suffering and propriety is what they want for me, they don't know you've haunted me so stunningly. Propriety? Okay, that's not a word I know. Propriety definition. The quality or state of being proper. Long suffering, propriety. I choose you and me religiously. What if he's written mine on my upper thigh? This is the chorus. What a way to die. I keep recalling things we never did. That's also like when you have conversations with people in your head, when you have memories with people in your head. Now, the more I speak of this, I'm really hoping someone else can relate, because otherwise the viewer's like, I don't do this. I don't. But then again, everyone daydreams, no? I hope so. Messy topless, because how I long for our trysts without ever touching his skin. How can I be guilty of sin? He sent me downtown lights I hadn't heard it in a while. Am I allowed to cry? Yeah, the allowance of crying is an interesting concept of it's almost the same concept of if the emotion is not valid, is it fine to feel it? Like if someone says something and you get offended and it's clearly meant and objectively seen as a compliment, and then you get really, really, really pissed, are you allowed to feel pissed? Because you're not allowed to scream, you're not allowed to like act out, whatever. Like within the realm of, not that you've never done that or I've never done that, but you know what I mean. Like in the court of public opinion, nobody would like, someone says something and then you're offended and it was clearly meant as a compliment and you scream at them, everyone is like, what's happening? But if you would just feel it, are you allowed? Or are you like crazy? Like, can we look at the definition of crazy? Because I feel like the definition of crazy is so vague and crazy definition. Very foolish, senseless, or strange. Extremely excited or enthusiastic. Okay, so first one. Very foolish, senseless, or strange. Senseless means a person unconscious, lack of common sense. Lack of some common sense. So if you lack common sense in that situation. Also, is crazy one of the terms that you can be for a moment and you can also be for a lifetime, but they're very different. Like you can be sad or you can be depressed. And with crazy, there's just like you can be crazy now or you can be crazy overall. I wonder if that's the case. Okay, let's do one more song since we're already here. Who's afraid of little old me? The who's that? I love that. Is poised for attack, but my bare hands paved their path. You don't get to tell me about sad. You wanted me dead. You should have just said, nothing makes me feel more alive. So I leap from gallows and I levitate down your street. There's something true about when someone says you can't do something. I think the people that are successful tend to have the attitude of, now you're going to have to watch me do this thing. Whatever it is, like writing a book, doing a thing, whatever. Crush the party like a record scratch as I scream. Who's afraid of little old me? You should be. The scandal was contained, the bullet had just gazed. At all costs, keep your goddamn name. You don't get to tell me you feel bad. Is it a wonder I broke? Let's hear one more joke. Then we could all just laugh until I cry. So I leap from the gallows and I levitate down your street. Crash the party like a record scratch as I scream, who's afraid of little old me? I was tame, I was gentle, till the circus life made me mean. Don't you worry, folks. We took out all her teeth. Who's afraid of little old me? I wonder if all her teeth is all her strength or all her voice, because you sound different if you don't have teeth, like you speak different. If that means they individually took out her opinions and voice or her ability to get to say something and mess up. We should be, you should be, you should be. Well, you should be, you should be, you should be. See, this is why most people don't read song texts, because the repetition is unlike poetry. So tell me everything is not about me. What if it is? Then say they didn't do it to hurt me. What if they did? I want to snarl and show you just how disturbed this has made me. You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me. That's a wild sentence. And it's also on the concept of someone making your life a living hell and being like, but this is not the worst it's ever been. Like, this is light work from what I've been through. It's kind of what she's saying. So all you kids could sneak into my house with all the cobwebs. I'm always drunken on my own tears. That's a beautiful sentence, drunken on my own tears. Because being drunk essentially is like That's the explanation I have. I don't drink, so I really have very little explanation. That was it. That was the definition. Isn't that what they all said? That I'll sue you if you step on my lawn, that I'm fearsome and I'm wretched, and I'm wrong, but narcotics into all of my songs. And that's why you're singing along. So I leap from the gallows, and I levitate down your street, crash the party like a record scratch. I love that metaphor. Who's afraid of little old me? I was tame, I was gentle, till the circus life made me mean. Don't you worry, folks. We took out all her teeth. I wonder if that's also like taming an animal and taming her humanness and turning her more into this character of herself rather than an actual human. Who is afraid of little old me? Well, you should be. Because you lured me and you hurt me and you taught me, you caged me and then you called me crazy. I am what I am because you trained me. So who's afraid of me? So who's afraid of little old me? Who's afraid of little old me? It's interesting. I think it's interesting that she says, who's afraid of little old me? And then she's saying you should be, the word choice. But again, I think there's much more of an audience element to her songs. I wonder if that was like that in the first album. Maybe we'll try the first album at some point, if you request it. Because I do think progressively throughout albums, there's a tendency to acknowledge the audience, because you almost build a relationship with the audience as well. I think it's interesting because people talk about parasocial relationships, and I completely agree that they're not healthy, obviously. But I do think they're a two-way street sometimes. Not in the same extent, but I do think there's a kind of a personification of the audience for the writer or the artist as well, and that's actually not beneficial, because then you're catering it to somebody. And the thing with catering something to somebody in the form of art is people don't need you to tell them what they know. They need you to say something that really is true, and they need authentic, and they need honest, and you can't present that in that way. Does that make sense? Anyways, check out everything in the description. Please request a part 3 if you want one. I might just do this anyways, but yeah, thanks for watching.